All right, so welcome everybody. Hold on real quick. Open that back up. All right, so first thing we're gonna do here, can y'all see my screen, that money and risk management plan?
Yep.
All right, yeah, I know that. I think we
Yeah,
went over it. Yeah, the first class. I want to say that we went over this. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. Did we, Bernard, or no?
No, not the first one. That'll
Okay.
be the second one.
Second class, we went over this. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to, yeah, I just want to kind of make it really, really quick. I'm not going to go over all of this because we don't really need to. But I am going to go down to this section right here. Um, this section right here under my money plan. In order to achieve your targeted returns and account size, your current highest priority actions are to focus on your processes, specific actions, mindsets, habits, and routines. Hold on, y'all, one second. All right. The reason that I've stopped on that part right there, y'all, because it's because most people think trading is really about those charts or about what's going on in the news or in the presidency or whatever the case may be. Now, not to say that that stuff don't have don't play a part in how this market moves because it absolutely do. But you want to kind of have an understanding, especially being brand new coming in here, that you're gonna kind of go through the same process as everybody else. I'm gonna say that. Y'all, one of the it's like three different stages when it comes to trading. Um, one of them is gonna be, hold on one second. Sorry, my grandson keep bothering me. But
Mm.
so yeah, so most people just think, it's about the charts and it's about having a lot of money and things like that, y'all. And I promise you it's not. Like y'all already know, you don't need a ton of money here to make money here. So it can't be about the money. Y'all, it ain't about the charts either for real. Now the charts are something that, you're gonna have to know how they move. You're gonna have to be able to read the charts to be able to put yourself in it the right way. But for the most part, y'all, a lot of this 90% of this is going to come down to your where your focus is, your actions, your mindset, your habits, your routines. All of that like really accounts for about 90% of whether you're going to see some success here or not. And so I don't like for people to come in, especially being brand new, and then you just start adopting really bad habits right off the jump. You're going to probably do that anyway. I don't think I've seen anybody come in here and really just don't have bad habits. Only a couple of people. But for the most part, you're gonna have some bad habits here just because your greed is gonna show and things like that. You're really gonna have to get into the books that I give you. And I think for, like I said, 90% of this, y'all, it's gonna be a mental upgrade for real. It ain't really got nothing to do with those charts. I hate to spend a lot of time on charts because that ain't it. And most people are like, oh, if I learn the charts, then I'll just know where the market is going. That's fine and dandy, but I promise you, you can know where the market is going. But if your brain isn't wired to do this, then it just won't. All right. In this market, y'all, your number one tool that you're using here is your brain. It's your brain now. And I'm not saying that you don't use your brain on a job that you have now, but this is all brain. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna require some specific uses of that brain that you probably have never used before. I know for me that was the case, and for most of the people that I see, it does require like a real mental upgrade. What I mean by that is this. How many people have ever heard like in the Bible, like the man is the head of the household?
yeah,
All of us, I think.
Right,
yeah,
right. Okay,
yes.
yeah. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of Neville Goddard or not, but Neville Goddard has a book called Feeling is the Secret. The book is only about 50 minutes long or something. I don't even think it's an hour long, honestly. That book is gonna be probably your best bet to getting your subconscious to do this the right way. In that book, he talks about how when the Bible says that the man is the head of the household, that they're not talking about actual human beings. They're talking about your conscious mind being the male and your subconscious being the
Subconscious.
female.
Yeah.
Ha- Yep, yep. And so what happens with your subconscious mind, y'all? Because I know a lot of people, just don't know how the subconscious work. We don't know how the conscious mind work. We don't know how the subconscious mind work. But how your subconscious mind works is it only works off of how it's programmed, all right? So if you're
Mm-hmm.
if you're programmed to do something one way, you're not gonna ever come outside of that. Like it's gonna be really, really hard to come out of however you're programmed. And so you got to start looking at that subconscious almost as if it's a computer program. So let's say you're a nurse, you're really technically kind of programmed to do nurse shit, right? And so as soon as you come in this market, your brain gonna be like, what the hell is this? Like it's literally not gonna let you do what you want to do here. It's so tricky when it comes to how the brain works here. But like for me, when I first started, I spent like 16 hours a day in the charts.
Mm.
Yeah, I got to the end of the year and I knew how to read the charts, but I still couldn't make money. And I was like, what is going on? And it's because that subconscious is like, I don't know what you got going on, but this is what we got going on. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
it's literally, yep, it's gonna do exactly what it's programmed to do. That is the number one problem that you're gonna run into here. It really is. Screw those charts, screw the news and all of that. The number one problem that you're gonna run into is that the fact that your subconscious is actually programmed to do something else. That is it. Like if you can literally conquer that, you've conquered the market. And when I say conquer, y'all, you're gonna have to conquer self. You are. Um, Again, it's programmed to do whatever it's already programmed to do. And so that's all it'll do. And so it doesn't matter that when you're in this market that you want to win. It doesn't matter that you want to do the right thing. If that subconscious ain't programmed to do this the right way, it absolutely 100% will not. So back to Neville Goddard, feeling is the secret. The male is the head of the household, right, y'all. So all that means is your conscious mind is the head of your subconscious. All right. So let me just break down how this works. Write this down if you have to. But how this works is whatever you feel throughout the day. And so let me give you an example. I don't watch the news, right? And that's because I don't want to feel empathy for people. You know what I'm saying? I know it sounds, a little cruel, but it ain't. I don't want to feel for you. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon
Mm-hmm.
as, yeah, I feel for you, I'm literally signaling the universe to like, give me some. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I ain't playing with that. So you got to be careful with how you feel because what happens is let's say you're just in a bad space. Let's say you're getting ready to lose your house. You got kids. You don't know how you're gonna feed them. Let's just say it's just a really bad situation for you. If the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is think about that, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna feed my kids. I don't know how. Like you're literally ordering that shit for yourself. You are.
Mm-hmm.
You're ordering it. Yep, you're ordering it. And so the universe is just like a genie in a bottle for real. Like a lot of us just don't realize that it is like a genie in a bottle. It is listening to everything. The only thing is, it ain't just listening to your words, it's listening to your vibration. So when you're waking up and you're feeling poor and you're feeling broke and you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
down and yeah, like you're ordering that shit, you're ordering it. And so if you can change how you feel and tell a different story, then you'll start signaling that story to the universe. That way it'll be like, oh, okay, well, this is her new, thought process. Let me go ahead and give her that. Right. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
you, start getting the things that you want for real. And that that is part of the trading too as well. You know what I'm saying? You want this money out of here, you're gonna start having a signal to the universe that you're worthy of this money, that you deserve this money, or that you already have this money. A lot of times, we'll be begging and praying to God for this, that, and the other. But the problem with that is that you're begging and you're asking for something that you don't have. And if you don't have it consciously, you're never gonna get it materially. You're never gonna get it materially. So you gotta have it in that mind first.
Yes, man.
Um, So make sure you're kind of understanding how that process works more than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Just understanding it's like of a, kind of awakening process that you have to go through here where you're really seeing what's going on. You can't really just be sleep walking around like an NPC out here thinking that you're going to trade the stock market. It ain't gonna happen. So male is the head of the household, y'all. So let's say you're feeling down, you're feeling out, you're feeling poor, you're feeling broke. When you go to sleep at night, the conscious mind is going to your subconscious, and your subconscious is like, what's up? Conscious mind is like, what's up, girl? What you got going on? Subconscious like, no, what you got going on? The conscious mind is like, oh, we felt poor today, we felt broke today, we felt unworthy today, we felt all of these badass emotions today, right? Y'all, your subconscious ain't gonna say shit, but all right, you know what I'm saying? It literally accepts everything that your conscious mind brings to it. In order for your conscious mind to bring anything to that subconscious, you got to put some feeling to it. You got to put some feeling to it. All right. So for me, I'm gonna tell y'all a little story, and how I really felt, kind of ran into the fact that this shit really worked. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a skeptic, y'all. Like, you really got to prove to me that something worked. So I was reading Brian Tracy's book, No Excuses, and Brian Tracy was saying that if you want to stop doing something, like stop eating bad food or stop drinking or smoking cigarettes, all you gotta do is tell yourself that that isn't like you. Just keep telling yourself that that isn't like you, right? So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna see if that works. So I'm listening to Brian Tracy. Yeah, I was on a McDonald's kick, right? So I was eating McDonald's every day of the week. And so same thing, Big Mac, strawberry cream pie, and Sprite every single day. So
Jesus.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, at this old big age. Uh-huh. It was no good. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm listening to Brian Tracy. And so I got the food that one day and I said, this isn't like me. I started telling myself, like, this isn't like me. This isn't like me, right? And nothing happened. So I end up eating the food and I end up going home. The next day came back, got the same food again because I'm really predictable. Got the same food again, told myself again a bunch of times, probably about 40, 50 times that that wasn't like me. Same thing. I ate the food, right? And so third day I came back, got the food, same thing. Kept telling myself that that wasn't like me. But on the third day, y'all, I don't know why, but I started crying. Like I literally just
Mm.
started feeling really emotional, y'all, saying that many times, using that repetition like that. And I just started crying. I broke down like in the car and I was like, oh shit, what am I crying for? And so I was just like, I don't know. So I just ate the food, right? And so mind you, I ain't paying no attention to this, y'all. And so the next day I come back and I ordered the food, right? And then before I paid for it, I pulled off. And so I drove home. And yeah, I didn't even realize that I didn't get my food, right? After I ordered it until I got in the driveway. And I was like, how come I didn't get my food? And I was like, that was weird. And I was like, whatever. And I did not drive back. And then the very next day, went back, did the same thing, right? Ordered the food and pulled off again. And then at that point, I was like, what is going on? Like, I could not turn back around and get that food. And I was like,
Mm.
what is happening? And I was like, I know good and damn well that this isn't like me shit didn't work for real. Yeah, it was not the fact that it was this isn't like me. It was the fact that I was putting emotion to that shit. I was putting emotion to it. And so what happens is, at night, my conscious mind is going to the subconscious and it's telling the subconscious, like, that ain't like us. We don't eat Big Mac and strawberry cream pies and Sprite.
Mm.
That's not like us. You know what I'm saying? And so the
Mhm.
very next day, when I attempted to go back, the subconscious was like, it ain't like us, and it would not, y'all, would not let me eat that food, wouldn't let me pay for it or nothing. And I haven't had it since. And that was years ago. And I'm like, what the hell? And so once I realized, like, okay, that's really how shit work, huh? I just started programming myself like that all around. You can tell yourself you're a consistently profitable trader and that you never break your rules, but you better be putting some tears behind that shit. Like, you have to put that emotion to it, and tell yourself every day, I am a millionaire. Like, my finances are changing,
Mhm.
drastically day by day by day. Keep telling yourself positive shit like that until you literally put some emotion behind those words. Because as soon as you do, your subconscious or your conscious mind is writing that shit down. Like, all right, we are millionaire, right? We're a millionaire. Abundance is our birthright. Tell yourself that over and over and over. Put emotion behind it when you say it. When you go to sleep at night, see, we think sleep is just, go, we're tired and our body got to rest and all that. No, hell no. Like, it's so much happening as you sleep. Like, it's insane, y'all. So as soon as that conscious mind goes to that subconscious and it lets that subconscious know that, hey, we're millionaires now. The subconscious, y'all, does not disagree. You hear me? I don't give a shit what you tell that thing. It will not disagree with it. And I know people that are delusional as hell that be making up shit and be believing that shit, y'all. That's because they really do believe it in their mind. Um, so you got to really understand how your subconscious works here because it's going to be the number one thing in your way. So kind of X the fact that you're like, oh, the stock market, I don't understand how the candles work and things of that nature. That's all I find a dandy because again, that's just going to take some repetition. That's just like learning a new language. So don't really really worry about those charts. And y'all, I ain't gonna lie, they just gonna start making sense when they start making sense. Like whenever you put enough repetition to that shit, that's when it's gonna start making sense. Until then, it just won't. So if you're practicing 0 hours a day, it won't make sense for about a year. If you're practicing 1 hour a day, you might be able to see some differences in how you're looking at this chart after about 9 months. All right. So it's going to be up to you how much time you put in these charts as to when you're going to be able to read those. All right. So the charts again take a minute, but this mental work that you got to do on yourself, it needs to start now because it takes the longest. It's the freaking hardest. And so it's going to have to start now for real. Um, And what I mean by that is this. When you wake up in the morning, stop thinking negatively. Stop thinking negatively. I don't give a fuck if you got the worst life right now. Stop thinking about that shit. You ain't doing nothing but ordering it. All right. So you want to just kind of shift that as soon as you wake up in the morning. Whenever you first wake up in the morning, your brain is in theta, which is almost like hypnosis mode for about 20 minutes. So before you pick that phone up and scroll mindlessly on Facebook or Instagram, go ahead and program yourself with what you want to program yourself with. Positive affirmations. I always follow my rules. I'm the best trader in the whole fucking country. Like, you better start making yourself believe that shit. One thing about that brain is if it believes something, it'll act that way. And if it don't, it absolutely won't. So you gotta reprogram that brain, y'all. That's why trading is extremely hard, because it's almost like it's you have to do like some type of brain surgery on yourself. And I would rather just go, literally, I went and got hypnotherapy, y'all. I was paying like $300 a session for hypnotherapy only because it was so hard getting beyond my conscious mind to kind of tapping into my subconscious. But I'm telling you what I know. You're going to have to do it first thing in the morning. As soon as you wake up, start telling yourself abundance is your birthright. Before you go to bed, make sure whatever it is that you want out of this life, y'all, it don't even matter how you're going to get there. Make sure you start visualizing that shit. One thing about your nervous system is it won't let you have shit that it ain't familiar with, that it's not comfortable with. So we ain't millionaires right now. So clearly our nervous system ain't comfortable with millions of dollars, right? And so for that reason, we can't just assume that millions of dollars is gonna be, belong to us. Nah, we gotta literally start mentally connecting with those millions first. Everything happens first within and then without. You know what I'm saying? So we can't be chasing things on the outside thinking that effect is going to change our life. You got to change the cause. That cause is always your thinking. It's always your thinking. Um, Another book that's really, really short, y'all, is As a Man Think of. Now, you ever read that? As a Man Think of James Allen?
No, I'm familiar with it, but I haven't read it.
Okay. As a man, I think if it's super, super important because, again, I know a lot of us, grew up with the same concepts of how our brain work, right? Ain't nobody ever taught us shit. And so you got to understand how that brain work here, y'all. It is the only thing that you're working with. And again, you're not going to like how it works. You're not. You're going to be pissed off that it's been working this way for your whole life and you ain't even know. But like, we really give our brains these little stupid ass tasks to do. And when this bitch can do anything, you hear me? And I mean that, like, whatever you put your mind to, you can 100% do it. I'm such a believer in that, y'all. I've seen this
Mm-hmm.
brain do some real mysterious shit, yup. Just because I learned how to use it, all right? So more than anything else, y'all, like, get good habits, because your habits are literally running your life. Your thoughts, for one, everything start with a thought. Nothing that you do or have could not start with a thought, right? Everything starts with
Mm-hmm.
a thought first. Yep. And then those thoughts are controlling your actions. Those actions are controlling your life. All right. So if you want a different life, you got to start with the thoughts. We cannot start on that surface level. All right. Meditation, y'all. Meditation is going to be one of those things where you're going to have to get used to it. If you've never meditated before, like, I think they've put like a bad name on meditation where, it looks, I don't know. I don't know what it looks like to people for real, but a lot of people have like a bad connotation of meditation, but y'all, meditation is like a car wash to your messy car. You hear me? It'll clear your mind. Even if you're only meditating 5 to 10 minutes a day, you're going to have to start meditating here. And the reason being is because every time you go to make a decision in this market, if you don't learn how to slow that brain down, it'll always make a real rash decision. It'll always make the stupidest decisions. And you'll be like, what the hell did I get in here for? And you'll be questioning every move you make. You got to learn how to slow that brain down once with meditation. Once you slow that brain down, you are going to be surprised to find out how much control you can have over it. Most of us just don't have a lot of control coming in, and that's fine, because when we come into this market, that brain that you come in with, that bitch won't work here. It will not work here. Please understand that. It won't. It won't. And I don't care what your brain look like. I know for a fact, y'all, it won't work here. All right. It got to be rewired to do this. The reason that you got to rewire your brain is because as soon as the market pumps some fear in you, which it will, as soon as you take a couple losses, you're gonna have a little fear pumped in you. As soon as it pumps some fear in you, then all of a sudden the market got control over you for a while. It's literally gonna have control over you. You're not gonna have control over self. this is where most people quit, all right? And so when they realize, like, oh shit, I have no self-control, y'all, that's where most people quit. And then they lose and lose some more and lose some more and lose some more. That is the name of the game here. You're gonna have to become a good loser in order to become a good winner here. And that's because it's easy to win, but then when you lose, it's easy to get out of control. It's easy to be like, oh, let me just take one more trade and try this again. No, 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 no. Just go on and call it a day. That's why if we lose, $100, another 175, $80, $200, go ahead and call that shit a day. Clearly, we ain't in a good space and we can't see what's going on, or the market just ain't giving us what we want. All right. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and skip this part right here because that part is pertaining to trading, and I really just want to kind of hit on that mindset part. This timing and pairs right here, y'all, is really important. You want to make sure, like, if you're working from 9:30 to 11:30 and you can't trade that morning session, that's fine, but pick a session that you can trade. So if you're off work and let's say 8 o'clock in the afternoon, you don't have anything to do, the kids are in bed, choose to trade from 8 to 11. The market is open 23 hours a day. All right. But you cannot trade something that's going to make you force trades. Like I have a friend where she works at a dentist office, and so every time she go on break, she taking a trade, and it's like you can't tell the market when to give you a move, like at all. And y'all, she's been trading for like 9 years, still unsuccessfully, and so you can't really do that for real. Like this is something that you're gonna have to give total focus to. Um, Again, so meditation is going to be your best friend here. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. All of Neville Goddard's work definitely is going to be, kind of key to doing this. Anybody in here kind of familiar with quantum physics?
A little bit. I've heard about it and kind of read on it a little bit. Not too familiar because I haven't, like you said, gotten into that mindset. I kind of brushed it off, so not too much.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So I feel like quantum physics is the key here, y'all. It is. Like me, after doing this for 5 years, absolutely quantum physics is the key. And the reason I say that and the reason I talk about mindset so much is because it doesn't matter if you can read this chart. If you don't got the mindset to do this, you're not gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna be able to do it. And so another reason why I feel like quantum physics is gonna be something that you're gonna have to get into is because there are laws of the land that we don't understand, we've never been taught, so we know like the laws of the country, right? Like we can't just run out here and run red lights and things like that. We got to obey these laws to keep ourselves safe. But there are laws of the land that we don't even know what they are, y'all. We don't even know what they are. Never heard of them. Nobody has ever taught us what they meant. Like maybe if you heard of a couple of them, but don't really know what they mean. And so I want everybody to really understand, like the laws of the land, they're gonna trump the laws of this country. They're gonna trump whether you know how to read that market or not. Like it's gonna trump all of it. And what I mean when I say that is this: quantum physics, y'all. It's just basically like there's an experiment. Actually, you know what? Let me just show y'all the experiment real quick because I feel like quantum physics is way more important than charts, y'all. So hold on one second. Let me pull that video from YouTube. And I'm gonna just keep it all the way real. You start getting into quantum physics, you about to change your entire life real fast. It is life changing. It's life changing, y'all. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna explain it a little quick before I pull it up, but it's just a quick little cartoon video that I'm gonna show you guys. That way you can understand just a little bit what quantum physics is. Because again, you ain't gonna be able to do this without it. You're not. All right. Let's see if I can find that little cartoon. I think it's the easiest explanation. Mm, Hold on. Okay. Then let me know if you can't hear this video. Hold on one second. Let me share it and make sure I share that sound. Let me know if you can't hear it. Hold on, y'all.
So, what they taught us in school isn't really the way it is.
Can y'all hear that?
Yep, I can hear
Yes,
you.
I can hear it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let me just make that a full screen. All right.
And that our senses are playing tricks on us. We just gotta wonder, what is this reality that we find ourselves in? Quantum physics says it's all just waves of information. Do I believe that? I hope so. Yikes! And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double-slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So, they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. Physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. It was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
All right, that's the end of that video. Somebody come up off of mute. Let me know what you took from that. It might have been a little difficult if you never heard of quantum physics before, but what did you take from that? I'm just curious.
I was kind of understanding that last part. Just it's almost like a memorization type thing, like I don't know, call and response almost.
I'm gonna
What
say
it's
this.
saying.
Not necessarily. Anybody else? And that's okay. No, I appreciate your answers. I don't care whether they're right or wrong, y'all, but just let me know what you took from that. Whether that
Okay.
made sense or no. Thank you. I appreciate your answer. But not so much. Anybody else? Nothing. All right, so let me just explain how quantum physics works. So basically what they're saying is using marbles are making two lines on that wall, right? If there are two slits, one if there's one. Waves, one line, the first wave, and then a second line, you got the interference pattern. Basically, when it comes to electrons, y'all, we are electrons. Like our body is made of just electrons. Everything is made of electrons for real. And so basically what they're saying is anything that you're observing, you can literally like kind of collapse into reality for real. And we don't really understand that that's how reality works, but it does. Anything like anywhere that your attention go, your energy flows. And so you can collapse whatever it is you want to collapse. Like, and I feel like, we live in a parallel universe where every like version of ourselves like really exists out here, but you got to kind of be able to observe that shit. That's why I say tell a different story. I don't care if your life is horrible right now. Tell a different story, because if you start telling a different story, you can literally start collapsing the life that you want right into reality, y'all. You really can. And I wouldn't be able to tell you this if I didn't live through this myself for real. You can collapse whatever life you want right into your reality if you know how, like if you understand how quantum physics works. So it's going to be something that I feel like they were teaching us like the Pythagorean theorem, like and back in high school, but nobody ever used that outside of in the real world. You know what I'm saying? They should have been teaching us about quantum physics. But quantum physics literally allows you to just shift whatever timeline you want to shift to. So if you don't want the life that you want right now and you want a millionaire lifestyle, just shift to that shit. Like learn how to shift to it for real. Learn how to shift that mind to it. Because one thing about your brain, y'all, it can't tell whether you're lying or not. Like it can't tell whether you're full of shit about the things that you're visualizing or not. Like it'll never ever disagree with it. It'll accept it as long as there's emotion with it. So I kind of wanted to make sure you understand what we're working with here. A lot of the things that we do is going to be straight up mental, y'all. It really is. Let me open up one more thing for you here. Give me one more second. Now I'm about to read your message in one sec. Let me see. Double set theory, same as the whole world, but you only see what's right in front of you. Yeah. And literally living life. I vision as a kid, and I'm a visionist. Yeah, you ain't lying. Y'all, I'm telling you, when I was struggling in the market, I was envisioning like this big lifestyle, millionaire lifestyle. Y'all started running into millionaires at the gym. I was like, what is going on? But when I say I've seen this stuff work out in real time, y'all, it really does work. It's a reason why we don't understand this stuff, the people in power, it benefits them to make sure that we never understand how we really work. Because if we don't understand how we work, we'll always stay in the same space for real. So let me go ahead and share this with you real quick. And I want y'all to understand how risk to reward work and its market. I want you to write this down because risk to reward is really, really important here. we're not going to win in here every day. All right. That is one of the things that traders have a super problem with. They want to win every day, or they don't understand that you can't win every day here. Like sometimes the market just ain't gonna give you what you want. Sometimes you're going to be off. Sometimes, it's just going to be a bad day for you. You got to be okay with that. Right here on this little chart that's on my screen, it's something called risk to reward. So 3 of the things that you're going to need in this market to be able to see success. You're going to have a winning strategy. All right. The strategy that I have wins about 75-80% of the time. It ain't going to win every day, but it'll win enough for you to get some decent profits off of. But nothing here wins every day, y'all. So come in with that mindset that, I don't have to win every day. I just got to be able to control my losses. That's it. Today, I want to say I lost $300 altogether today. Yesterday, altogether, I made 19, and the day before it was 23. You see what I'm saying? So on the days that I win, I try to make sure, I'm in them 4 figures. On them days that I'm losing, I got to make sure that I'm cutting those losses off. Like I cannot let that run up to -900, -1,000 on any given day. All right. And so looking at that 60% profitable there, if you look over to the left, it says 1-to-1. All that means is a 1-to-1 risk to reward, right? So again, to be successful here, you got to have a good strategy. We already got that. I'm going to show you that strategy. And I'm going to make sure I drill that strategy in you. That way, you know nothing but the strategy. A good strategy and then a good risk to reward, y'all. Because even if you have a good strategy, if that risk to reward is off, your numbers are going to be off. All right. This is your risk to reward chart right here. And the third thing is going to be your psychology. You just got to get the subconscious to do it for you. So if you can get that subconscious to believe that you're consistently profitable trader, it'll just come in here and do consistently profitable shit. You see what I'm saying? Outside of that, it just won't. So like I said, Feeling It's a Secret by Neville Goddard. That is how you're going to kind of reprogram that subconscious. But this risk to reward right there at the 60% and the 1-to-1, all that means is that you're risking, let's say, $100 to make $100, right? Now, if you're risking $100 to make $100 on every single trade, you only need 60% of those trades to win for you to be profitable. All right. Because what you're going to have, let's say you have 100 trades, right? Well, let's say you have 200 trades. You take in 200 trades and you have a 60% win rate. All that means is that you won, let's say 120 trades, and then you lost 80 of them. Y'all, 80 trades sound like a whole lot because it is, all right? It really is. But let's say you won 120 trades and you lost 80 of them, right? And you're risking $100 on each end. That means you're up. I can't do the math on that. You're up $12,000, but then you're down $8,000, all right? So what that means is that your profit is $4,000. Does that make sense, or y'all need me to repeat that?
Repeat it one more time, Danielle.
Yeah. So, let's say you have a 60% win rate, right? So just say out of 100 trades. So out of 100 trades, you win 60 of them, but you're also losing 40 of them, right? But if you're risking $100 on the wins and $100 on the losses, then out of 100 trades, 60 of them are going to win, and then 40 of them are going to lose. So what you're going to have is, let's say $6,000 minus $4,000. And so your profit for those 100 trades is going to be, what's the math for that? $2,000. So it's just a difference, right? And that's only if you're risking 100 to make 100. So like right here on this one, if you were risking $100 to make $100 and all you had was a 50% win rate, then you'll always break even, right? And that's because out of 100 trades, you're going to be winning 50 of them and you're going to be losing 50 of them, right? That means you'll win 5,000, but you'll also lose that 5,000, right? So that's going to put you right at break even. Now, let's say right here, You're looking at this 50%, but then you're looking at that 2-to-1 over here, right? Now, a 2-to-1 risk to reward with a 50% win rate, it will work. Y'all, but listen to what I'm saying when I say a 50% win rate, right? That means you're losing every other trade, all right? So this is what I mean when I say you got to be okay losing, because you can actually have a 20% win rate here, y'all, and still be profitable in this market, right? You just got to have a 5-to-1 risk to reward, all right? So let's do the math on this. Let's say you got a 20% win rate, right? But every single trade, you're risking $100 to make $500. You only need to win 20% at a time. That means the other 80% you can lose and still see profits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep. So get the I gotta win every day out of my mind. Like, that's not real. It's not real. And you gotta get, up to the point to where whenever you're taking those winning days, that's why I be like, the days that we win, hey, move that target up a little bit, right? That way you're not just shooting for 500. You can shoot for 800 or 1,000. And that's because you want to have those winners sitting pretty. That way you take a couple L's, then it's not really affecting you as bad. But again, don't think for 1 minute you got to win here every day. That is absolutely insane. And it won't happen. And if you have those expectations for yourself, you're just going to be upset when the market doesn't give it to you. And so it doesn't make sense it's just like a casino owner. Like, they don't care that, you're coming in and you're winning. They already know that they got a 4.5% edge over you at the end of the day. Every dollar that's being played at the casino, they're going to bank 4.5% off of it, whether you win, lose, or draw. You got to look at yourself in this market the same freaking way. You cannot care about these losses. You cannot care. I cannot even say that enough. You really cannot care about these losses, y'all. It is going to be the caring about the losses that is going to have you upset here quite a bit. So understand that they're just part of the game. That's it. That's all they are, is part of the game. And they're really just expenses for real. So if you look at it like, you have a business, right? Which that's what this is a business. And those losses, they're just expenses for real. So the goal for you coming in here is to make sure that your business is bringing in more profits than sitting out expenses. That's all. All right. So let's look at this 50% right here, and let's look at that 4-to-1 or the 3-to-1. Actually, this is actually where I like to sit. The 3-to-1 risk to reward with a 50% win rate. And that's because the strategy that I have has about a 70% win rate. And then doing a 3-to-1, you'll always see those profits for real if you let your trades run to target and if you shut them off when you're wrong. All right. If you let those losing trades run too far, y'all, they gonna run. All right. Ain't nothing you can do about them. You gotta be okay losing. As soon as you're not okay losing, your brain is gonna always step in every time it thinks that it's taking a loss, and you're gonna be upset. All right. So let's go and look at these charts. Today was kind of choppy, y'all. That's why we didn't win today. It was just a little choppy. The YM was the better market. She just came out and blew up a little too fast for us to try to catch that move. It was kind of fast. The YM does that a lot, where they know you're going to be skeptical about putting your stop behind a really big candle. So let's go ahead and just look at these candles, right? I'm going to go over candle formation, y'all. If I haven't sent you the Candlestick Bible, I will send you that. The Candlestick Bible is basically telling you what these candlesticks are saying, all right? I'm telling you what they're saying. Every candlestick has like its own little language or whatnot to it. And so if you can understand what they're saying, then you'll understand where this is going half the time. So the gold candles here, in my case, my gold candles are my bullish candles. They're the candles that are telling you that the market is going up. The white candles are my bearish candles. They're the candles that's telling you that the market is going down. Okay. So this is the S&P 500 over here. Here is the price. Okay. So the price is over here to the right, and then the chart is over here. So let me just open that up. What I want everybody in here to do is I want everybody to get used to just kind of looking at this strategy here that I'm getting ready to show you, and understand that this strategy is something that you can use every single day, y'all. I just showed y'all that risk to reward, letting you know that you don't have to win every day, right? So again, you want to make sure that you're risking, let's say you're risking $200. You're risking $200 to make $600. All you need is like a 30% win rate for real. You do not need nothing higher than that. You don't. You will if you let those losses run, though. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It is not gonna pan out if you won't get out of those trades, or if you're over trading and revenge trading. All right, so I don't want anybody in here coming in brand new to get it in their mind right away that, oh, this is the stock market. This is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. No, I want you to look at this as it's just pattern recognition. That's it. And then if you can follow a very specific set of rules, then you'll win most of the time. You don't want to win every day, but you'll win most of the time if you can follow a specific set of rules. So for the rules here, before you're able to learn how to read this market structure, because again, reading this market structure and all of that, it's just going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute before you'll understand all of this, right? So what I want you to do is notice that you got a gray area right here and you got a black area right here. This gray area is the pre-market. This is when the stock market is closed. That black area is at the New York Open. New York Open is at 9:30 Eastern time, right? So when the New York Open rolls around at 9:30, you're gonna get this first candle right here. All right. This is what's called a bullish candle, right? Because it's gold. Got a bullish candle right here, and it's a 5-minute candle, y'all. This is a 5-minute time frame right here. You can switch that over to whatever time frame you want. These are all 30-minute candles, meaning that every 30 minutes we're gonna get a candle. That's why we don't have a lot of them on this day. Go right down to the 5-minute, you're gonna see every 5 minutes. Okay, so you can go up to whatever time frame you want. The market moves the same way on every time frame, y'all. It's literally just moving in fractals. So let me go back to the day that I was on, and I want to show you this strategy, right? And we're recording this, or I'm recording this, so I want you to kind of watch over this. You can skip past that first part if you want. But this part right here, I want y'all to really, really start getting to understand, especially since you're new. Like I said, don't look at it like it's the stock market, y'all, because that's just gonna make you think that this is harder than it is. Just look at it like you're in kindergarten and you're just, expected to show, patterns, different patterns and things like that. So again, this is the very first 5-minute candle. I'm gonna place a price level right at the top. This is the first 5-minute candle. I'm gonna place a price level right at the bottom. All right. So I want to make it really easy on you. So whenever we get that first candle, your next job is to wait. All right. That's it. It is your only job past that. It's to just wait. And what you're waiting for is you're waiting for the market to give you a specific signal as to where it might be going. All right. And so this next candle next to it, it's still in the zone, right? So I'm gonna make this price level green. And so I want you to make sure that you're not trading anything until we come outside on one of those levels, right? Now, when we come outside of one of those levels, we want to make sure that we're looking for specific criteria when we come outside of those levels. We can't just come outside of the levels because we'll get faked out. Remember that this is a game of manipulation. They're gonna try to manipulate you everywhere they can, all right? All right, so let me open it up. So this is our high level right here, and this is our low level right here. This candle is within that level. We're not going to do anything, and this is 5 minutes. This is 10 minutes. That's still in the level. This is 15. This right here is breaking out, but notice how that body of that candle is still within that level, all right? It's still within that level. Even though this broke out here to the upside, right? The body of that whole candle is literally still within this level, right? The reason, y'all, that we want to be outside of this level right here is we trying to figure out which way this thing plan on going, right? So if it's up here somewhere, it may just be to the upside, right? And if it's down here, then it may just be to the downside, right? So we're just waiting for it to break out. So for those first 5, 6 candles over there, you should not be making any move. Your finger shouldn't be on that mouse or nothing like it, all right? You want to get outside of this zone. Once we come outside of that zone, and then you want to look for particular candles outside of this zone. This right here is something called a doji, right? So these blue candles right here, they're dojis. They're the ones that look like crosses. All that means is that they're indecision candles. And so it means that the market opened up here with this candle. It went all the way up here. It came all the way down here, and it closed in the same exact spot. So that's all that means whenever you see a doji, right? So when you're looking for candles outside of this zone, these green zones right here, what you want to look for is a really, really super bearish candle. Let me show you what I mean when I say super bearish. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can draw this out because y'all might not understand that when I say super bearish. So give me just a minute. Okay. All right. So let's say we got this candle here, and let's say the body is like this, right? On this candle. All right. Say that this is a bearish candle, right? Right. This is a white candle, and all the meat on that candle is at the bottom, right? And then the whole wick, the top of that candle, just that little stick at the top, is all the way up here, right? What this means is, y'all, all the pressure to this candle is on the downside, all right? So for a candle like this candle probably open up right here. It opened right here. It came down here. It came all the way up here to the top of that wick. But then when it closed, y'all, it closed all the way down here. All right. So what we're doing is we're trying to figure out who's in charge of this candle. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it the bulls? Is it the bears? Now, let's say we had a white candle, but it was like this. Right? If we had a bearish candle, it was white, but all the meat of the candle was to the upside like this, and then the wick of the candle is down here, then that's kind of bullish, right? So before this candle closed, let's say even if it closes right here, before this candle closed, it went all the way down here, and then the bulls were able to push it all the way back up here. So before that candle closed, that candle is more likely to be bullish. So it doesn't really matter what color it is. These can both be white candles, but the fact that the meat of the candle is in two different places, it almost tells you two different stories. Does that make sense or no? You say yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit. All right, let me show you the candles on the chart. Hold on. I know it'd be confusing. Hold on.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He about to who? All right. All right. So let's look at two different candles. Let me show you what I mean when I say that. Let me get that moving average off of here so we can see it a little better and just clear that up just a little bit. All right. So, y'all, this candle right here, y'all. So come up off of mute. Well, we're gonna have to have some participation up in here today. Come up off of mute. What kind of candle is this right here? This white one, bullish or bearish?
Bullish.
Bullish, it is. So even though it's white, even though it is technically a bearish candle, the fact that all the meat on this candle is up here, this is a really bullish candle, all right? And so you can't really look at that and be like, oh, that's bearish, it's going down. Not really, because it came down here to the end of that wick, but before that candle closed, before that 5 minutes was up, this candle was all the way back up here, right? And so what it does is it shows the strength of the buyers in this candle right here, right? And so whenever we're breaking down of this level here, y'all, remember we're trying to take the market to the downside, right? If we're trying to take it to the downside, we want to see some bearish looking candles, right? All right, so this is looks like bullish, right? Or the meat is at the top. This right here, y'all, is kind of doji like, because we got a rejection up here and we got a rejection down here, right? And so in order for us to want to take this down, we want to see a candle that got all the meat at the low of that candle, all right? And then not only do we want to see that candle that got all the meat at the low of it, we also want to see volume. Kind of confirming that move, right? Now, this candle right here, again, it got a wick at the top, it got a wick at the bottom. So I'm gonna say that's two, indecision for me, right? Again, if we're going to break below that low, and if we want to put our money on this market and say that this market is going down, you need these candles to tell you, like, hey, yeah, I'm super bearish. Go on and take me, right? I'm super bearish, and I got the volume to match, right? If you don't get those two on a candle, you cannot take this down. You're just going to get faked out. Does that make sense or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at this coming down. Uh-huh. Okay, look at this coming down. So we broke our level right here, right? Again, this is doji-like. Even this one is kind of doji-like, right? We got a little, candle at the top. I mean, wick at the top, wick at the bottom, right? So that's still kind of doji-like. You don't really want to take that down. You want to see something that look really bearish down here. This right here is a gold candle. So definitely not taking it down on a gold candle. This right here is a doji, right? Another indecision. So we're not going to take that down here. This is doji, this is bullish, this is doji, this is doji, this is bullish, right? Now we got gold, gold. Now this right here is kind of bearish right here. This is probably going to be the most bearish candle that's under this level right now. But do we got the volume on this candle?
No.
With the wick.
Yeah, we don't got
No.
the volume, yeah. So when we're looking at volume, y'all, this is whole level down here is volume. It tells you how many contracts were even purchased in that candle. So if you hover your mouse over this candle or this volume candle down here, it tells you that in this bearish candle, it was 13,656 contracts swapped. All right. So in order for us to say, all right, yeah, this is a super bearish candle because the whole wick is to the upside, we don't have enough volume. So we don't have enough people saying that might be the move down. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to like being in this market, it just makes sense to try to figure out where everybody else is, right? Where are they? All these candles is kind of letting you know, this could be bullish, this could be, doji type. Y'all, the reason that you see this when these levels like this break is because when the banks are trying to get into the market, they can't just go jumping into this market, right? They're buying too much, right? They're spending too much money. And so what happens is they got to let this market consolidate a little bit. They got to let it go up and down a little bit. And in these candles that you see below this level, even though we're below that level of the first candle, none of these candles look bearish. None of them look bearish. That's how you know that the banks are sneaking in to the upside. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, if this was still gonna go down, y'all, you would see their footsteps. Like that candle would be this right here would be super. It is bearish, but it would have a volume on it, right? And so you can almost tell which way the banks are sneaking in based off of what these candles are looking like. And just think about it like this, right? If you go into a store to purchase anything, I don't care what it is, you're always going to want the lower price, right? You're always going to want the lower price. So look at this when you're looking at the low of this level here or the high of this level here. If these levels are being breached, you got to ask yourself, why are they being breached, right? So just think about it. Let me just grab my little arrow right here. Or just think about it. If the banks are like, hey, we want to buy this market and we want that market to go up all day, they're going to run it down first, right? They're going to want the lowest price. Yeah. So anytime you see this low level get broken, this green level right here, and it's just under our first candle of the day, y'all, don't overcomplicate this. Just put a price level right at the bottom of that candle, right at the top of that. And then your job is to try to see, kind of visualize, what's going on here by the look of these candles, right? So again, let me go back through these candles real quick, y'all. Uh-oh. Go back through these candles real quick. This candle is definitely bullish right here. So absolutely not. And we're still within our zone, right? We're still within our green level. This candle here is too much wick on both sides, right? So it's a lot of indecision. We ain't getting in on that, right? This right here, even though it's a strong, big bearish candle, it's a lot of indecision on that. We got a wick at the top, wick at the bottom. We ain't gonna touch it. That's gold. We ain't gonna touch it. That's doji and blue. We ain't gonna touch it. That's doji. We ain't gonna touch it. That's blue. I'm sorry. That's bullish. This is doji. This is doji. This is bullish. This is bullish. This is bullish. This is bearish with no volume, right? So once you see all of that happening at the bottom, you can almost just assume that the banks are, just putting their little orders in, right? Sneaking their little orders in. In order to get a move to the upside, y'all, you want this market to close above that 13 moving average, all right? You want the market to close above that 13 moving average. So in this case right here, this market right here in this candle closed above that 13 moving average. When we get that close above that 13 moving average, a lot of times that tells us that we're headed to the upside. Now, here's the thing you got to be careful about. A lot of people are getting in that market at the close of that 13 moving average. And so sometimes they'll run a candle like this down and try to take you out, depending on where your stop is. All right. So if you're going to get in on this candle right here that's closing above that 13 moving average, then your stop, you have to find the white candle, the bearish candle over to the left of where you got in at, the low of where you got in at, and you want to stick your stop below here. This candle right here may have come and take you out though. Like they ran that down far enough to where this is why you can't win every day either. All right. So this did close below or above that 13 moving average, but they did come back for what's called a liquidity grab. All right. And so let me show you what a liquidity grab is. All a liquidity grab is, y'all, because you got to understand how the banks are moving here. The banks can see your stop losses. All right. And what that means is this. All that means is this. Let's say you're like, oh, we got to close above that 13 moving average. That's that red line right here, right? We got that bullish candle to close above it, right? What happens with a lot of people is they'll get in right here, y'all. So they'll buy that market right there, right? And then they'll put their stop loss right up under there, right? So they'll stick their stop. Let me just clear this off real quick so y'all can see it better. This is the close of the 13 moving average. Everybody understand the close of the 13? Why I chose this candle right here?
Yep.
Yep, it's closing right above this red line, right? Everything else, you see how everything else is below the red line, below the red line, below the red line? Yep, now we got to close above that red line right here. All right. And so again, whenever you got to close above that red line, you got to look to the left and you want to find the lowest point to the left, y'all, and stick that stop loss under there. Like I said, this one right here, it would have been iffy as to whether you survived that or not, right? Because this just came down a little too heavy. A lot of times they won't come down like that unless they need your orders, right? So this is how the banks work. They're going to know that, all right, you got in right here, right? You're like, all right, bet this thing going up, right? But if the banks weren't able to get in because we got in, oh, they're coming for you. They're just going to come back and take you out. You know what I'm saying? It is an unfair advantage. I promise you it is. So again, if you bought the market right there on that close of the moving average, your stop loss is going to be a sell order. It's going to be a sell order. It's going to be here. So this is your buy order. This is you buying in that market. Buying in that market because that down move didn't look good, right? We didn't get any bearish candles. We didn't get the volume on those bearish candles. So those candles don't look good to the downside, right? So now, since they don't look good to the downside, y'all, it's only two other directions, right? That's why when we be in the Zoom, I'm always waiting for that reversal. Today was a little early on that reversal, but it actually did reverse. But right here, that's where we're getting in, right? It's your buy order trying to take that to the upside. Here's your sell order just in case you're wrong about direction. Notice how the price came straight down. All they're doing is activating your stop losses, y'all. Like they can see our stop losses, right? So they know that it's $8 million in stop losses sitting here. You know what I'm saying? So just think about it. So if the banks got in right here too, and they're like, all right, we're going to run this up. But then they're like, hold on, we weren't able to fill 50,000 positions. They're going to run that back down and take your stop loss. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said you cannot want to win here. You can't because y'all they play so damn unfair that it pisses you the fuck off when they do shit like this. It does. And with most people, when they do stuff like this and they just come and snatch you out of there, it usually just makes you crash out. Now you're just like, oh fuck that, I want my money back. And now you're jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, jumping out. And before you know it, one move done cost you your whole account. Okay. So if you're wrong about direction, y'all, regroup, right? Regroup, see what happened, right? And if you're like, oh shit, that wasn't nothing but a liquidity grab, right? And then we're closing right back above that 13 moving average again, then you can take that up, right? Notice that they just came and took everybody out that they wanted. Now you can get back in with their asses and still really ride that up. But it's just a point of not crashing out after they do stuff like this because we can't control when they do stuff like this. And sometimes we can wait until the liquidity grab happens, but then sometimes it won't even happen. It will just keep going. And so it's one of those things where you don't know for real. You don't know. But you got to be okay not knowing. You literally got to be okay not knowing. All right. So if you're like, all right, damn, I got my stop ran right here. I just lost, let's say $175, $200 right here. Right. No worries, because let them take you out. All you got to do is find another closure above that 13. And we got the next candle closing right back above the 13. Right. And not only that and this is an area of support, right? It bounced right there earlier. It bounced right there again. So that's a good area of support. So you already know that it's a lot of buyers in this this area, right? And the banks are the buyers. So whenever they run this down and run into your stop loss like this, you already know they're doing all the buying right here. If the banks are doing all the buying, that's where you want to wrap that up at. All right. And then you can switch that over to the Heiken Ashi candles. If we got green candles with no wicks at the bottom, then we're probably going up. We got 4 of them right here. No wicks at the bottom. All right. And notice how we're on the side of the 13 moving average. I want you to look at that 13 moving average over here. It's because it's a difference as to how that 13 is to be played and looked at for real. So let me just erase all of this. When it comes to that 13 moving average, y'all, which is that red level going through price right here, whenever the 13 is flowing through straight through price action like this, that's letting you know that the market is consolidating. All right, it's letting you know that the market is going up, down. It's letting you know that if you get in there, you're about to get your money snatched. All right, and so you cannot trade this market when this line right here, this level here, is literally running smooth through price. All right, how you can tell that the price is about to go up is you want that 13 moving average, you want it to support the price. Notice how here it's starting to support the price. You see what I'm saying? It ain't necessarily going through it anymore. Okay, you see what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yep. And so that's how you can tell. And that's just going to be patience, y'all. Again, you got that 13 moving average going straight through price. Can't do nothing with that. You want price to be, or the 13 to be up under the price, up under the price. You want it to hold that price up, hold it up. And it's the same thing for a down move. With a down move, you want price under the 13 moving average. You don't want it going straight through. Don't want it going straight through. So as long as it's staying on top and price is being held by that moving average, you can stay in that trade. You see how literally we're bouncing off of it, bouncing off of it, bouncing off of it. Now here we're starting to kind of come down. I'll be like, oh, okay, let me go and take them profits. Yeah, because now we're falling below that 13 right here. So the 13 moving average is like one of the best moving averages because it literally is going to show you, hey, we got some consolidation going on. I'm going straight through price. You might not want to touch me right now. And then bam, I'm not going straight through price.
Mm.
What do you want? You're not getting no more candy. Get out of here. Because I said so.
What?
Yeah. This new damn generation. I wish I would have told my granny why I can't get no candy. She'd have been like, let me show you why. I'm going to show you, but I can tell you. Okay, thank you, boo. All right. Anybody got any questions about this moving average? Hey, I'm working. Any questions about the moving average?
I have a question about just like the moving average. If you can explain it a little bit, it's like, does it stay the same, or does it depend on your the type of candle you have at the time, like?
No, so basically you're just trying to see where is that and compare it to price. And so let me go ahead and put the 200 back on there too. So the 200 is hold on. Go back in there. Go back in your room. Go. The 200 and the 13 right here is going straight through the price, right? And when you got both of these moving averages going straight through, all you really got to do for real when you see that is you can literally just throw a rectangle around that, y'all. And this is why I say, don't worry about these. Yeah, don't worry about these charts because they really are kind of elementary for real. It's just the fact that y'all don't know about them yet. And so you can't see how elementary they actually are. But if you were to put this box around like that, all you got to do for real is wait. You know what I'm saying? When you see those moving averages going straight through price like that, all you got to do is wait for it to come out of that box for real, y'all. This is when I say this shit is elementary, right? Top of that box is going to act as resistance, right? All that means is every time we hit the top of that box, we turn around. This level down here is a level of support, right? All that means is this is where the buyers are, right? So we know that the buyers are down here. And we know that the sellers are up here at this level, right? And so, y'all, all we got to do is wait for the moving averages to stop going through price and for price to break out of this box in one direction or the other. Notice how it broke out to the upside. It came back. It retested that box as a new area of support. And bam, that's our entry to the upside.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good because I don't be knowing what y'all can see for real. I'll be like, Lord, I don't know. It's been so long that I couldn't read the market. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell y'all something funny too that I noticed that I think it's extremely and crazy. I thought my vision was getting bad, right? So I'm like, I don't understand why my vision is getting like really horrible. And so like when I'm on Facebook and I'm like just mindlessly scrolling through y'all, I literally can't see what nobody talking about like at all. If I like your shit, I don't know, I couldn't even see it for real. I can't see it. Like words is like really, really blurry to me now. But then I saw a video where a guy was going through a stock chart and it was going really, really fast. And he was putting a trend line here and a parallel channel here and this here and that here. Yeah, and I could read every single thing that he was doing. I was like, damn, now that my eyes are so focused on these candles, y'all, I can't even see words anymore. This shit is insane. It is insane how mental this game is, y'all. Like why I barely can't even read anymore. I have to listen to my books because I can't see words. And that's how this market does you though, for real. But yeah, another thing too, I want to show y'all when it comes to these moving averages. All right. What you want to do is you want to always, I'm not gonna hold y'all too much longer in here. You always want to see which way these moving averages are moving. All right. So whenever you have the yellow moving average, which is, I call it Big Daddy, right? Because Big Daddy kind of is like a telltale. You can kind of tell what's going on based off of how the price is reacting to the 200. But whenever you see them crossing like this, where you see that the 13 is on top, the 200 is on bottom, y'all usually whenever they cross, all you got to do is wait for the price to come back to the 200 and it's either going to bounce off of the 200 or it's going to break through that thing, right? So here's price. Let me go back. We got our moving averages crossing. Yeah, day before. This is the 7th. Oh, this was the 7th. Moving averages crossed on the 7th. The 13 is at the top. The 200 is at the bottom. That is a bullish indication. Anytime that red one is on top, it's letting you know that the market is probably in an uptrend. If the market is probably in an uptrend, y'all, you gotta let it fall down so you can get a lower price, right? Just think about it. If the market is gonna go up, the banks are gonna drive it down first so they can get a good price, right? When they drive it down, that down mark is gonna be on a 200 moving average. Notice how we came straight to the 200 and bounced straight off of it. All you need is a double bottom breaking off of that 200. That's all you need. And when I say a double bottom, y'all, it's literally just a letter W, all right? So if you can get a letter W bouncing off of that 200, after that 200 and that 13 cross, then you got yourself a move, right? And then you got a double bottom, and this is our neckline on a double bottom. So let me show you how that double bottom works, y'all. Again, it looks like the letter W, right? Just like that. The neckline is right here. The reason this is called a neckline is because what? I'm not about to come here. The reason this is called a neckline, y'all, is because this is our area of resistance inside of that W. Okay. So price came down on the 200, bounced back up, made a neckline, came back down to the 200, bounced back up and broke the neckline. All right. So this used to be an area of what right here? Support or resistance, y'all. This.
Resistance.
Yeah, resistance. Yeah, that used to be an area of resistance, meaning that within that W right here, y'all, this is where the sellers came in and tried to push that market back down there, right? So all you're doing for real in this case is watching this level. This level happens to be 6807. All you're doing is watching this level, right? And notice how right here we didn't get those same sellers coming in. We didn't. They broke straight through that, just like they weren't even here. They were here just a few minutes ago, right? And so all this is a game of where is everybody sitting at, right? Where are the sellers at? Where are the buyers at? You can always look left and tell where they used to be, right? And then if you come back up to an area of where they used to be and they're not there anymore, y'all, it's going to be the opposite direction. They're going to come in on the other side. So this resistance right here is going to turn into support over here.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's how you can tell whether or not they're going to make that move to the upside. If this area here turns into an area of support because it used to be resistance, and I'm going to turn that over to Heikin Ashi so you can see it a little bit better. Notice how on the Heikin Ashi candles, let's see. Let me just take this one off real quick. Notice how on the Heiken Ashi candles, y'all, when we came out to this level, what we see? We see red candles coming from that level. Notice how here, yeah, we got a little pullback here, and that's where that red candle came from. And then bam, green candle, no wick, green candle, no wick, green candle, no wick. You got yourself an up move.
So where the wick is at under the support, that's when you make it support, or where it's at from the red, that's when you make it your support.
Yep. So just remember that resistance turns into support and support turns into resistance. So right here, like I said, in your double bottom, you're going to have that area of resistance there. If you're going to make that W, when it comes back up for that middle part of that W, y'all, that is your resistance, right? All you have to notice is right here, whether or not that resistance is still there. All you're doing is seeing whether or not the same sellers that came in right here are going to bring their asses back in right here. If they're not, they're going to turn into support on the other side.
Okay.
Right here. Yeah. And so that's why I said keep it simple. It ain't nothing but a game of pattern recognition. I promise this is not the hard part. I promise it ain't. It might be hard right now because it's brand new to that brain and you like, I don't know the fuck she talking about and what's going on. But at the end of the day, I promise you this will start looking like words on the pages for real. Like you'll open up that market and be able to tell, like, oh, go to that 30 minute and be like, oh, the 30 minute going down. Oh, but the daily going up. Oh, but this is doing that. Like it becomes super, super easy, yo, when you put this work in, like when you practice. I'm gonna send y'all that candlestick Bible, y'all. I'm gonna send y'all the audio version that's on YouTube, and I'm gonna also send you like the PDF version. Go through that candlestick Bible. That is gonna be y'all's homework for this week. Every single day, set aside about maybe about an hour, just to go over that candlestick Bible, just to get used to what these candles are saying, because I promise you it's just like learning Braille. You know what I'm saying? None of us know Braille. You brought a book up in here that got bumps in this bitch, I ain't gonna be able to tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's just where you are now. My cousin yesterday, I had put something on Facebook like, I wish all of my family and friends was trading. My cousin like, I quit 3 times. That's the fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're scared of failure. You're scared of goddamn failure. Every time you can't get it and every time it don't make sense, you're done. You know what I'm saying? I don't see you for 6 months. That's the reason why it's taking you 3 tries and you still fail. Like, you're literally scared of failure. Let me tell you something before I let you go about failure. Failure is literally like the energetic polarity of success, right? You cannot succeed without the failures. How the hell you think you're gonna learn this?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't worry about these failures. You're gonna get a shit ton of. I was listening to Jesse Livermore. Jesse Livermore is like a millionaire trader. Y'all been trading for like 60 years. He done made millions, lost it all in the market, made it back, lost it all. And he was saying like in the very, very, very first part of trading, you're gonna get your fucking teeth kicked in. And I mean that. Like you're literally gonna get your teeth kicked in here. You are. The market is gonna whoop on you like you stole something. Hold on. Damn. Yeah, the market is gonna whip on you like you stole something. You know what I'm saying? So I want everybody in here to get, kind of familiar with that beating. Even if you're in the Zoom room with me, I'm still not really expecting you to do too much, nothing in there. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna require some failure. It is. Stop being afraid of failure, because whenever you're afraid of failure, you're unconsciously accepting, the fact that you won't ever see success. You know what I'm saying? So understand that you're gonna fail here. You're gonna fail so many times. I used to ask myself, I hated this shit. I ain't gonna lie, I hated this shit for a long time, for like a whole maybe 9 months to a year. I couldn't stand waking up having to go to my office and lose. And it's like, why the fuck I keep doing this every day, Uh, but then when I looked up, like time just had went by and I was like, well shit, I done lost so much to where I can't stop now. But I promise y'all, you are literally gonna fail your way to the top here. You are. That failure is something that you cannot avoid. I can't shortcut you there either. When I have you in a Zoom with me, it's because I want you to kind of see how much patience you really got to have here before you get that move. Okay. So understand that even if you're in that Zoom room, like you're on the other side of the computer by yourself. So I can't control how you act over there. You know what I'm saying? I can't control whether or not you jump in and out of that market, whether you're doing the right thing. I can't control any of that. A lot of that is going to come from you. And a lot of that is just not going to happen right away. Like you're going to come in just like everybody else and fuck some shit up real bad. And then once you're tired of like fucking up and you pay your tuition to the market, then the market's gonna let you have everything that you want. But understand like the polarity to having everything that you want in life is gonna be some ugly shit. Like it's gonna be an ugly situation. just because it's a game of you versus you. Anytime you try to level up and do something else, that brain like, hell nah, what's she doing? You know what I'm saying? Let me go sit her back down a regular scheduled program. That's the first thing you're gonna run into. I hate when people come in and then they quit like 3 weeks later and was like, oh, my car broke down. Like, who the fuck cares? You know what I'm saying? They ain't had nothing to do with this. They had nothing to do with this. And it literally happens every time you try to change. Every time your brain is going to try to find a way to get you to stop. Your brain does not want you to succeed. It wants you to survive.
Yeah.
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 That's,
It doesn't care about that success. That is not, is not a priority. It's not. I promise you it's not. I hate to say that, but it's not.
that's that
So yeah.
self-sabotage.
Huh.
That self-sabotage.
Uh-huh. Did y'all read that book last week? The Mountain Is You?
Yeah, that's what I'm on. I had to go to it again
Okay.
today.
Yeah. That self-sabotage is real, y'all. I don't know. Like, it's real as hell for real. Like, you're gonna self-sabotage a bunch of accounts. That's why I'm happy that, we can trade with proprietary firm money where you're not just, burning your money in this market, because it is gonna cost you some tuition here. I promise you it is. But you gotta think about it, y'all. If everybody could do this shit wouldn't be worth nothing. You hear what I'm saying? It wouldn't be worth nothing. Yeah. So if you're one of those people that you're like, I'm ready for this challenge, I don't give a fuck if you're not ready for the challenge. Get ready for it. Get ready for it, because that challenge, that outside of the norm, that's what's going to change your trajectory for real. And you're going to look up one day and be like, damn, I'm happy I started when I did. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, because time going to go by anyway. I remember this guy, he wanted to trade and he was like, how long is it gonna take? I was like, at least about a year and a half. He's like, I don't got no year and a half. Think in my mind, shit. I mean, unless you don't plan on being here in a year and a half, your ass got a year and a half, because time is gonna go on without you. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna wait and be like, oh, well, fee ain't ready yet, so we're just gonna hold up for a little while. No, it's gonna go on without you. Yeah, the time is gonna pass anyway. So I remember like 2 years later, y'all, and I did it just to fuck with him, right? I was like, hey, what you doing? You still working at that job? He's like, yeah, I still hate it and all this and the other. He was like, I should have signed up with you. I was like, that was 2 years ago, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make sense to just not just stop and be like, just do it. You're gonna be uncomfortable for a while. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be painful as shit. You're gonna want to quit every 5 seconds, y'all. The market painful. I'm not lying, it is. Like, and I hate to say that because I don't never ever really speak negatively. And it ain't a negative speak, I don't think, when it comes to the market. It's just real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't finna hold you up and say that this shit is easy. I'm not. I am gonna say that reading the charts is easy. 100%. It is easy as hell to read these charts. Once it starts clicking in that brain, and that subconscious can do it for you. And I'm telling you, the reason that the subconscious don't do it, y'all, is because as soon as you get scared and you take an L and now you're fearful, your brain is going to be like, what is she doing? Let's get her out of there, right? Let's get her out of there. That's the first thing that subconscious is going to do. Like, how do we get her out of here? Oh, we can make her revenge trade. She can blow this account up and now she can't trade no more. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the subconscious is going to do. It ain't no different from, if you walking up the street and you see a big ass pit bull run up on you, you don't got time to be sitting there wondering what you're gonna do. Your subconscious is gonna take over. It is, and it's gonna literally give you the best, the reaction to what the situation that you're in. Yeah, I got a fear of dogs, or at least used to. And anytime a dog, and I noticed this too, it's crazy. Anytime a dog would run up on me and I really ain't got nowhere to run, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have no other choice but to like stand up to his ass. Y'all, it literally be fearless as hell. Like, the fuck you want? Get your bitch ass away from me. You know what I'm saying? And dog be looking at me like, let me go and get away from this crazy ass girl. And it's like,
Right.
I be scared as hell on the inside for real. But it's like in that moment, like your subconscious will literally set aside that fear and make you, you know what I'm saying, stand up to that, because what else are you going to do? There's no place to run. So the problem with the market here is that you try to consciously make decisions and that don't work. It don't work because when you're scared, the subconscious is making those decisions for you. So that's why I'm always talking about the subconscious, like understand how that thing works. Because if it's gonna show up, you might as well make it do, some productive shit here. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, it's just gonna show up and be scared. Yeah, and
That's
it's
true.
gonna throw you straight. Huh?
I was just agreeing. I said
Oh
that's
yeah.
true.
Yep, it's gonna throw you straight into fight or flight. And if you're on Thinkorswim, make sure you're getting rid of that bell. You cannot listen to that bell in the morning, y'all. That bell is like ding, ding, ding. It literally throws you straight into fight or flight just listening to that. And a lot of people don't even realize that. And I know because I was one of those people, y'all, where every day I'm listening to that bell, ding, 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 and I'm in fight or flight. I'm on that first candle, losing $600 right at the open of the market. Like, why the fuck I keep doing this? Like, why won't I stop? I couldn't stop. And until I was late to the market one time and missed the bell. And I was like, oh, I was able to really trade successfully that day. And I was like, what's different? And I was like, my ass wasn't in fight or flight right at the damn open. So y'all make sure you're muting that bell if you got Thinkorswim. That shit ain't gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah, you can mute that bell. I don't think on the other platforms that it comes through. But yeah. This is really elementary. Like I said, you're gonna have some easy days here. Like this was a super easy day, and then you're gonna have some hard days, like today, right? And market was just moving smooth on this day. This day right here, you know what I'm saying, was a little choppy at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really break out until later on. This is 12:15 in the afternoon. It didn't break out until 12:15. You know what I'm saying? But the very first part of that day yesterday, just super, super choppy. You cannot trade. That's why I said as soon as we got out of there, we started breaking right above that 13 moving average yesterday. And I want y'all to be able to take those trades, whether we take them in here or not. But that is all, y'all. I don't want to hold y'all too long. No, it's 5:25. Y'all got any questions before we get out of here?
Nope, that was good.
I'm about to say, even if like by me being new or whatever, even if I'm not just going off of your call, do you think it would be smart to even steal? Because I missed it. I lost $94, and I didn't take it. I got right off when you got off. I was like, okay, I'm not too familiar with whether I should stay or watch because I'm really not sure of what I'm watching for. So it's like, I guess what I should say is when I start to familiarize myself with it, that's when I should take it. Because right now I'm not too familiar with it. So I just kind of just let it be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't take it if you're not familiar with it. But if you can almost read it just a little bit and you're like, oh, that's that rectangle she's talking about. Yep. And now if you're looking and you're like, oh, it looks like we're on this side of the 13 moving average. Looks like we're headed to the upside.
Okay.
Bullish candles. Yeah. If you see something like that and you're getting like you're in, like kind of intuitive thoughts to be like, because one thing about the market, y'all not gonna lie, like your intuition is really how you trade. And the reason, because I struggle in that signals group sometimes, only because I'm trying to stick with a strategy. Because when you first start this market, it's almost like having training wheels on your bike. When you first start this market, you need these moving averages. You need a strategy to tell you where to get in and out. But once you've been trading for so long, y'all, you don't really trade that way no more for real. And I didn't realize that until like last year. I'm trying to force a strategy on a signals group, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even use this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's only because I know how to read the market. So it's like 3 stages. When you first start, you don't really know how to read shit, right? And then you're using like indicators and things like that, moving averages, try to tell you what's going on. And then you get to a point where you're like, all right, I got a good strategy. So, I'm gonna just run a strategy only, right? And it's gonna win a certain percentage of times, the other percentage of times it ain't, right? No worries. But what really happens after you've run like a strategy for so long is that you kind of just trade intuitively, because I was struggling with like trying to figure out why is it that when I trade by myself, I'm always in on that first candle. I'm always taking that very first move with no problem. But then when I come in here, it's like, oh, let's follow the strategy. And it's like, it's because I don't trade like that anymore. I don't. But then when it comes to my intuition, I don't want to be dragging y'all around off of my intuition. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of a little sticky situation when it comes to that signals group with me, because the way that I trade in that signals group is not how I trade personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge for me. I'm gonna say that. Like, we all have our own little challenges depending on where we're at in this market, and that's a challenge for me to come in here and put y'all into an intuitive trade, because it's just like, oh, this is my mind telling me to get in, nothing else. And so for me, I don't want to drag 35 other people just because my intuition said so. But when it's just me, my intuition telling me what's going on, I'm taking it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So you got to get away from even mechanical trading. So this is called mechanical trading when you're trading with a strategy where that strategy is saying, all right, we break that low or we break that high. You want to see whether we got the volume on some good candles, right? If we don't get the volume on some good candles, we're not taking it, right? That's your strategy telling you what to do. But yeah, after maybe about a year using that strategy, you're gonna like just open up and be like, I kind of know what the market is on. Let me take it here. Let me take it there. Let me take it here. Let me take it there. You know what I'm saying? It's all intuition. And it's really just the fact that, if you're woke enough to kind of align yourself with this market, then you already know what the fuck everybody else is doing. I promise your intuition is not like, your intuition is a response. A lot of people don't realize what intuition is. Like you'll have like intuition that this is happening or that's happening. All that is your subconscious taking everything that you've ever learned and yes, baby, give me just a sec, okay? Okay. When I say when you're using your intuition, all that is a response. So when I open up this chart in the morning and I'll be like, whether I say it aloud or not, if I'm thinking in my mind, I wonder where this market is going, right? My intuition is going to tell me exactly what's going to happen. It'll literally be like, oh, it's going to come here, it's going to make a double bottom and it's going to go up. My intuition will tell me that right off the bat. Now it's up to me as to whether or not I'm going to follow that intuition. You see what I'm saying? But it'll literally tell you every single time, y'all. Get really, really familiar with your intuition and how it works. Even if you got to find books about intuition, I think the Mountain is You got a nice little chapter about your intuition. But you got to understand how that works because it tells you. That's why when we were on air, I was laughing. Deshaun was like, this is going down. I was like, no, my intuition is telling me that this is going up. Y'all, my intuition is almost never wrong for real. Now, am I wrong with the entry sometimes? Do I get in a little too early or a little too late? Yeah. But my intuition almost always tells me what's going on. And that's why I trade options more than anything because with options, I don't need a Trump tight stop loss. I don't give a shit. I can get in here with options or I can get in here. At the end of the day, I don't have a stop loss on this. And so I'm just going to run that regardless. I don't know. If I feel like this is going up, I'm going to just run it up, right? When it comes to options. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on. Okay. All right. Yeah. So your intuition will definitely tell you what's happening. Again, it ain't nothing but a response, and it's just a subconscious response, y'all. Where, like I said, if I come in, I'm like, I wonder what the market about to do today. My intuition will literally give me a whole rundown, y'all. Like it's gonna come down to the 200, make a double bottom, and bounce right off. It'll literally tell me that whole scenario. And like I said, knowing what's going on and being able to execute that's two different things for real. Like you got to be able to have the patience to be able to execute that, even if you do know what's going on. But yeah, it'll tell you, and you got to be able to get used to that intuition telling. Like I said, it's just all your subconscious, just a response. So I've been trading for 5 years, so I've seen the S&P open up, yeah, every day for 5 years, and then I went back when I first started and back tested this market for 6 years. So I've seen the S&P open up and close for about 11 years for real. So whenever I sit in front of this computer, all I got to do is be like, I wonder where this thing is going, and my intuition is about to be like, all right, it's gonna take everything I ever learned, y'all. It'll take everything that I've ever seen with these charts, and it'll give me the exact answer, at least the best answer. So when you can get to that point where you're quiet and everything, and let me tell you something about quieting that mind in a way to be able to really, hear your intuition because your intuition, you can hear your intuition now, but if you got a lot of noise around you, a lot of noisy people around you, and you can't get no peace of mind in the head, it's gonna be hard to hear that intuition, y'all. You're gonna have to give some people up for real, and especially the loud ones that ain't even talking about nothing. All right, try to get away from them people as quick as possible. One thing about this industry is I didn't really notice that everybody that I knew was gone, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie. I looked up one day and I had a whole new damn circle and I was like, where the fuck all these people come from? Yeah, I didn't even see this shit happening. I didn't. I didn't. I was riding up the street one day and this girl sent me this really encouraging message and I was like, she is so positive and she is so sweet. And I was like, oh, I got a whole bunch of new friends. And I was like, hold on, where the fuck is my old friends at? And I was like, oh hell no, y'all. I was freaking out. I was like, where did everybody go? And it was literally just like the leaves that fall in the fall. They was just all everybody turned colors and fell on the ground. And I was like, oh my God. And then come spring, I had a whole new, set of leaves. And I was like, okay, this will work. But y'all, I promise you, like people be like, oh, you gotta remove people out of your life. You really don't. You really just gotta do something that's gonna benefit you and they'll fall off themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I will send y'all this recording again, go over like just a little bit of the chart stuff that we went over. Make sure you kind of understand the risk to reward. Next week, we're going to go over how to calculate this. Because like from here, right here, you only need 20 points on the S&P to catch $500. This 68.09, this 68.19 right here, y'all. So literally from here to here is $500 with the MESs. It's $1,000 with the ESs. So if you have one ES contract, you's already at $1,000 right here from here, getting in here. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't need that much.
Got you.
Oh, no, 29. Hold on, let me do that again. It's 29, my bad. But 29 is right here. So this little bit right here. From here to here to make $1,000 every day, y'all. So it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out when this thing is going up. It's just those days where it's chopped up and ain't doing nothing. We got to stay out of that. All right. We cannot play in those conditions. The days where it's moving down real good, yeah, we can play in that. Days where it's moving up real good, we can play in that. Chop, you stay the hell out of there. All right. And so kind of know that, every day in the trading day here for real. They ain't coming in here giving us this money every day. They're definitely so manipulating. It's going to be whole days where this market will not break out at all. It literally left or right the entire day. Yep. So that's why we got out yesterday. But as soon as we got out, it happened to break out, and that happens too. But for the most part, a lot of times you'll have a whole day where that thing won't even attempt to break out. It's literally just taking back the money that it just gave you the day before. So just think about the fact that this is all manipulation, y'all. The best part about the bank's manipulation is it's the same shit over and over, right? And so once you learn what the manipulation looks like, then shit, you just learn how to stay out of the way of it. Let everybody else get manipulated, not you. And y'all ain't lying. Most people sleep and they don't realize that they even got to change their mindset here. So ain't no competition here. Ain't no competition here. The banks are not your competition for real, because we trade like them and we try to figure out where their footsteps are. And if we can find their footsteps, then they're not against us. We're trading with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I will see y'all, a couple of y'all in the morning, and or next week I'll see y'all. Make sure you read The Mountain Is You, y'all. Brianna Weiss. Next week
Yes.
when we first start out, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Brianna Weiss, talk about that book before we get started. Before I let you leave, I want y'all all to listen to Nero Knowledge. Let me put that in the chat. Listen to Nero Knowledge on YouTube. Nero is gonna be somebody that's gonna really kind of introduce quantum physics to you. Nero is everything, y'all. Like if you even read the comments on his stuff, people are like, Nero, you're gonna change my whole life. Y'all get into Nero Knowledge. Subscribe to his YouTube. He don't let his looks kind of throw you off, because he's from Zimbabwe. He got these dark shades on, a wife beater. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that most people would be like, what can this YN teach me? Y'all, everything. And I mean everything. Get into Nero Knowledge, subscribe to his page, just read or listen to one video of his. Now, mind you, he do talk a little fast, and he talks so deep about quantum physics and things like that you may not understand some of the stuff that he's saying right off the bat, but try to keep listening until that brain is connecting the dots there. So Brianna Weiss, The Mountain Is You, make sure y'all get into it. And then Nero Knowledge, make sure you subscribe and start watching Nero's videos. He put a new video out every Sunday, but it's enough out right now to where I promise you Nero will change your whole outlook on life. And the thing about life is, as soon as the way you look at things change, the things that you look at change all right, they do. And so make sure you're understanding that. Get into Nero, get into The Mountain Is You. I will see you guys later. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too.
All right, you too.
All right,
Thanks. Bye bye.